But while I go get myself a coffee. Anyone died yet? Nope. Coffee's been acquired. We're all good. Brand to acquire it. And goes for an invade though. Should be able to steal away this red buff quite nicely. Hang on, the Trundle's being invaded. Very good. They see that the Raptors are being started now. That's going to be a couple camps away. Xiaoya's in danger. They're all the same. There's the heal burns. Thinking more LGD hard engaged on them with Xayah and Nami rather than Sion getting destroyed. But yes, Sion shouldn't be able to easily frontline this game. Yeah, I agree. That said, because you've got the wall and the tidal wave, I think that's a little bit harder. Your ability to full send to the front to back is very, very strong. Heng's going to see this happening, but has the red buff where Junhao doesn't. That makes this a bit harder. Who's got Smite? Heru's coming. One by Heng. That's fairly big. Tang Yuan can now roam, fighting over the small Raptors, but has the Relentless Force. Hi, Amber. Hi, birds in my brain. TT to MSI. Let's go. Pro, I love you. To be fair, I appreciate your genuine commitment to the teams. I don't know why you're committing this way. You degenerate you. But I appreciate it. Gonna have a go look for this re-invade. Took the Skull Crab coming back across. Trade on the other side. Heng's gonna see this happening. Will still want to fight this. Has got longsword and red buff still. Junhao doesn't. Junhao doesn't have smite either. This is so tough. Heng's got smite. He's just gonna go towards his Krugs instead. Missed the draft. Seems like LGD kind of won. I'm a fan of the LGD draft. Especially because the Trundle hasn't really gotten a lot of value early on. We'll be able to get rid of the Sion. And hey, you are still Rumble, Xayah, Rise, crazy AoE team fighting later on. I'm just not sure how easy front to back is going to be versus Vi Engage, Tidal Wave, Sion, Onivia Wall. Like that's, and you're a very short range comp into Glacial Storm, which I think is going to be very, very annoying. Like, Onivia is a bit of a kingmaker pick here. Yeah, to be fair, the Vi can't engage on the Xayah. I agree. But Xayah is not going to have a lot of fun versus Glacial Storm, versus Tidal Wave, versus Sion. Like, to an extent, you can dodge some of that. But I think the rest of the team doesn't have quite so many options. I think the Xayah in general is pretty smart. I liked the Xayah pick here. It also gives Feather access to the Rakan in a way that a lot of other drafts don't at the minute. And I think Feather has always been a really good Rakan player. Back when he was laning with 1xN and stuff. And one of the other ways you can potentially win this game is making it not a front to back. And Rakan obviously is one of the better flanking support options, mobile support options. TT definitely have the best logo. I appreciate the fact they have got the T's for eyes. If I fight with the Raptors again, who won that Smite fight? I think it might have been Junhao, actually. No, Heng smoked earlier, so I think it will be still Heng who gets that one. Gonna try and wall this off. That's a little bit unfortunate. Oh dear. There's the stun, the turnaround. John Howe's in trouble, has to flash. Does Vi want to follow? They still get the egg, so I think in some ways they got what they came for. I'm expecting full form of Nirvana on Nirvana violence in this series. That's probably wise. Yeah, exactly. You can't play the poke game versus Onivia Corki, I don't think. John Howe is going to be fine. We're able to heal up off the Krugs. Still, if I had to guess, I think LGD, looking at what I saw from Nirvana, are going to be the slightly better team. Though it'll be a question, right? Because I think John Howe, Keshi, Arn all really have had good moments. Not like Feather's a bad player. Like there are definitely room here. There's definitely room here for Thunder Talk to prove me very wrong. Let me go check out my weekly schedule there for Split 2. Yeah, because LGD ended up in that really weird spot where they were ahead of everyone for a very long time, and then TT in that final week went from potentially being eliminated to second. It was kind of wild. Really important last week from them. And in fairness to TT, that big turnaround week at the end of things decided a lot of fates. And I think Arn in particular for me went from being quite mediocre to being quite good. Heru had a good sequence as well in that first best of 5. And it means that on the whole this series should be pretty close. See if I can pick up the scoreboards for that TT series. Actually remind myself exactly how that one looked. So obviously TT ended up 3-0ing IG, which was the crazy series to get in here. In particular, Heru had a great showing. I think John Howe as well on things like the Lee Sin was pretty monstrous. But it was the John Howe and Heru show, and Arn kind of outdoing Jachi as well. There's a bit of the exhaust coming on down. Arn left pretty low. Does have the ult to burn if he needs to. Heals burned as well. Exhaust and heal down. Feather with the teleport didn't have the additional combat summoning. Of course, he's running that spellbook. Tang Yuan, reminder, doesn't have his passive. Face checks Trundle, but overcomes Vi with the flash Q into the Vault Breaker on the other side of the pillar. Means the Trundle can't get involved. Has no mana, does Tang Yuan, but down comes the Scion. Makes this a very interesting state of affairs as Keshi's here as well. Flashes on in. Flame Spitter overheat, doing so much damage to Heng. Does get a decent shield, but can't turn it around as a scrap shield was there. Both top laners arrive, but Keshi with the Rumble has more damage to work with. In comes Feather with the quickness, the tidal wave to buy a little bit of time, the flash away. Flash for flash from our supports. Ults also traded. Whew. Birdor's gonna get jumped on here. Should be okay for a second or two, but we'll see. Has to flash. Now things get a bit more interesting, but has to Soul Furnace. TP's flying. Flash Frost goes wide. Back towards the grubs that we saw started earlier. Should be just about okay, I think, at this point. I might just play with this Opera GX placement, as Heng's going to go invade these Raptors, knowing that the grubs were happening. So we'll have a bit of an opportunity. Does this look better? Is that better? Possibly not, actually. Kind of things. I don't want to put it... Can we put it over here? Is that going to be a better spot for it? Might be. Don't hate that. We'll hold with that one for now. I had to think about the placements. Not too much more happening at this point. Jungler's kind of just flicking around the map, trying to get as much value as they can. Hang is going to be slightly ahead here, which is great news for him. Does need to be quite strong here, I think, is that the primary point of engage for LGD. LGD, of course, got hit by defeating Weibo in a 5-game series. That is a nice combo top lane, speaking of. That'll be a very dead-looking Keshi, who has no way out of that full CC chain. Vi manages to get on top of the Rumble, who was getting the wave shoved, and perhaps was a little bit too over-eager. He's got the Leandries now. It's probably why they were so aggressively shoving that wave. Wanted to get a hold of that very important item. LGD, of course, went 2-0 up against Weibo before the near reverse sweep. That game 5 ended up being an absolute menace. That was the one where we had the Vayne switched mid lane to try and to find some wild matchups into a Sylas, and then Xiaohu got the Malphite, and the Malphite wrecked the Vayne, but the rest of the team kind of fumbled, and Xayah had a great Draven game. That whole bit of moment. There's the wall that comes out, forces Heru to flash away. Tidal wave flies across. Xiaoya now with the Gatling gun and the exhaust rolling. Well, Valkyrie well there from Feather, who's got his own exhaust on top of things. Dragon still in control of TT because LGD couldn't make it through that choke point. Looked good for a second or two, but of course the Ghost Flash made things tricky. But now Heru's trapped on the wrong side of the wall. The Aqua Prison that follows. They went a little deep. Heng needs to back out. They've gotten that kill onto Heru. Flash away as Feather goes in. Does go back out again with that battle dance. Man alive, that was close. LGD couldn't fight their way through that choke point in time to get on top of the dragon. They got the summoners off Heru and eventually killed them in the extended play, though. So they'll take what they can get there. LGD trying to shove up bot lane. They don't know what's happening, though. They're about to get ganked by several members. No mana on Xiaoya means he's very likely going to die here. Just about have enough for a Valkyrie as he gets over the pillar. The double Aqua Prison is good, but I think should just die here to a final chomp, and the Featherstorm comes and claims the kill. So actually, it was John Howard got it, I believe, with the additional bonk. No subjugate burn. Of course, with that play bot lane, will give Heng the opportunity to invade and probably steal away 2-3 camps, something like that. Keshi's roaming over, though, to try and help delay or deny this. There is a smite, so it won't necessarily be a full contest, but we'll be able to stick around for the prop. Close run game. LGD with the gold lead right now. Though TT more than within touching distance, have got the grub advantage and are tied in the dragons. So Ryze zone control is nice, but it's a lot more at risk to the Onivia than the other way around. So the reason why Onivia is the counter to Ryze, or one of the counters to Ryze, is because Ryze's ranges and his inability to escape, really, even with the Realm Walk because of the Flash Frost problem, is very, very vulnerable to Onivia's higher level of it. And with some fun pathing here. I don't think they want to dive this. Yeah. Gonna try and push for some waves. I'm just gonna reset on it. Wow. Onivia's gonna sit there, pick up that wave. I was wondering, asks I am John DeLeon. I was wondering what happened to Urgot. I haven't seen it in a while. So, Urgot fell into the issue of counter picks and Fearless. Urgot was great into very specific matchups. But was not really very flexible. Gonna have a little bit of a play around this Herald, actually, so we might have to hold on this one. Here comes the Realm Warp. Should be able to get out. Junhao was left, though. Oh, wasn't quite in time because the Glacial Storm slowed him down. Tidal Wave following the Vi journey. Feather gets the quickness, but there's still a Vault Breaker. Arms coming on over the Scion ult. Knocks up to the Decimating Smash. Haru goes low, remember of his flashes. Another wall comes out. And LGD's front to back. Choke point control is just stronger. TT's front line is quite minimal at best. And that is going to be a continual issue. Hello, Majidul. One of the OGs, one of my first subscribers, was one of our LDL enjoyers alongside the likes of Blade Trinity and Mecha Fanboy. Hysterics viewer as well. Once upon a time. Rise ult for nothing. The plan was to get Junhao and Haru out, right? You take that, you jolt into the jungle, you're safe. But basically, Vi full sense, and the Tidal Wave gets to be very agnostic of terrain, right? It just goes over terrain. And then Scion manages to find that Birdle has a really good ult, kind of weaves his way through. And also because Junhao has to flash, because he doesn't get in the Realm Warp, it really hurts him. So we're going to start back here. This Glacial Storm slow becomes incredibly important. So he stops to get the pillar, doesn't quite hit the Realm Warp, partly because of the wall, partly because he's slowed by the Glacial Storm. And then basically the Tidal Wave is excellent. Heru stands to fight. He could have kept walking, but chose not to try and save his jungler. Sion gets a double ult. It's very, very good. Though all of that starts off the Glacial Storm slow, which is ridiculous. Nami flashed to miss the bubble. That's slightly unfortunate. I mean, to be fair, Luffy, reminder that both T1 and Gen G were looking a bit worse for wear for half of the split. And we just saw the upset from BFX and what's happening with Nongshim. So I would be very careful about throwing stones in glass houses. Again, I'm not saying these are the best teams that the LPL has to offer. But I think first stand was a bit different. I think that's possibly also... Well, we'll wait and see what happens with G2, because I actually think G2 ended up learning quite a lot from first stand. And it turned up in Skewmont in particular. What a monster. What a player. I think he was genuinely one of the best players in the world across that tournament. Really, really aligned with the early jungle play. And I think that is going to hurt internationally. I'm not sure the LCK junglers are playing the first few levels of jungle quite at the top level right now. They're still obviously very good, but the L junglers in general feel like they are very, very attuned to the early invades. That's not to say LCK won't smash MSI. It's very possible. If there's one thing we've learned from LCK teams, it's their ability to take data and ways of playing the first 5 minutes of game and assimilate it into their own play patterns. They're very, very good at it. And HLE looked pretty phenomenal, which is great news. I'm so excited to watch a team like HLE versus someone like BLG if they don't fumble in playoffs. Of course, the moment I say that about, you know, LPL looking pretty great, and look how cool BLG are. They fumbled that best of 5 fairly handily against WE, didn't they? Makes for a very exciting internal storyline, though. Yeah, I think G2 had a very dodgy series against MCOY, I agree. Though, again, they won via clutch, but good lord, some throw... They should have won that so much easier. There were some very significant throws in there. Very significant throws. Oh, that's because they've got Kanavi. That's why HLE are an LPL team in sheep's clothing. It's also worth noting that considering the meta is very LPL favored, I think, right now, in terms of how you play around jungle in particular, it's no wonder the team with Kanavi's doing well, right? It's no wonder the team with LPL DNA is doing well. I think that could be quite good fun for teams like T1 as well, who do love the circus. Have a quick look in at the matchup and where things are at in this game as well. LGD with the 2 dragon, with the gold lead, I think. And I get a little bit nervous now for TT, because I think with the Trundle and the Rumble, you probably did want to get a little bit more out of this mid game. Still, obviously, going to have some good scaling options. But I think as it comes down to these objective fights, I worry that the zone control angles for LGD are going to get very, very obnoxious. I never finished up that Urgot point either, did I? We may have to wait because Heng's about to gank onto Keshi. Keshi's castle has decided that perhaps he is about to be on the wrong end of this game show. Violent game show it is as well. YCX just about flashing away. The heal's not enough. Nice play from TT to cross map. The Realm Warp was solid. Costs a couple flashes and the Ghost. And it will also cost them a turret. Well, I hate to say it, but maybe don't antagonize the mods. There's that look in the mid lane. 2 turrets plus 1 for 1 kills. I think LGD are relatively happy with that one. No, I have a feeling I know who it was. To Takeshi's castle gets me every time. It makes me smile, which goes a long way. Damn, that was a nice play. I think it probably was in the grand scheme of things. LGD now find themselves on 1,000 gold up from that sequence. Pretty happy. I do still see that Urgot point. I know we got a bit distracted. ADHD moments. We'll come back to it. Probably ought to set up around this dragon first, though. Assuming we see a contest. If not, we can come back to it. But the long and short of it is basically Fearless is disincentivized having consistent counter picks, and Urgot was very much a counter pick option into things like Sion. Although it probably wasn't awful to things like Gnar either. I think some of his items have gotten a bit weird. NACL looks really good. Yeah, I agree. I agree. There's the flash. Keshi's going to get jumped on. Out comes the equalizer. Good kill. And then, of course, Feather's blasted away. They do also manage to get some more work done there. Nice pickup for some flashes. Arn's now down his ult. And his flash. And, of course, they're in the river. With a fair amount of damage, they can turn to Baron here. Tanguin's potentially in danger. Has to flash as the pillar traps him on the wrong side of that. We're trying to zone control people out. They can still keep looking at this. This gets a bit spicy. John How can look to get on in here. Flash from Feather. In comes the Sion. Gets on top of Arn. Remember, doesn't have the flash or the ult. Makes things quite scary. Heng is blown up Feather. They get a knock up onto Arn. Birdle just gets to jump the backline. And now LGD can turn back to Baron. Panic stations from TT, who don't contest well there. Oh dear. Well, they fumble losing Keshi initially in the jungle, and then they fail to contest on the Baron. Basically, Keshi gets jump clearing wards, tries to get out with the blast gun, thinks he's safe, but there is a flash, vial, and the follow-up in these corridors is so obnoxious. And Sion just gets a great ult. The wall kept Arn out of the fight. Then Birdle gets a whole rotation on top of the flashless ultless Xayah, who does not have a lot of fun. Heng now gets a full send again. Keshi's dead. And the snowball has kind of completed, hasn't it? Baron, gold lead, soul point about to be picked up as well. Heng's had a Stormer. Heng has had a Stormer here. Both of these teams were in Group Nirvana, they were. LGD knocked out Weibo in a crazy 5-game series. Game 5 in particular, worth a rewatch. To come into playoffs and send Weibo down to Group Nirvana. I'm talking Vayne mid into Malphite counter pick. I'm talking Zahen that went into the top lane to get a better matchup for the Ambessa. We saw Silas flexed into the jungle. There was a Draven. It was wild stuff. Xiao, who tried his heart out, but the rest of the team kind of fumbles. On the other side, TT 3-0'd Invictus Gaming, who frankly looked quite sad. I hate to say it, but they look really sad. Mako was trying. Felt like about it. But the mid jungle there really made way. And more importantly, Nia, who was mid number 3 at the split because, of course, Rookie's personal drama led to last-minute replacements. Made things really trick. So, okay. I heard that Knight's Mandarin was not good. That's not quite how it is. We'll talk about that after the big fight that's happening right now. As Birdon with another wonderful ult. Another wonderful ult. Wall as well. The Crystallize comes in. The Flash Froth, the big one. Oh, you just can't play in a corridor. Hi, Nymaera. Hello, Alex. They're in chat. It's not me typing, by the way. How you doing, Al? How was petting the deer yesterday? It looked very cute. We're going to have a look at these Nexus turrets falling. Oh, man, this Onivia has been so annoying. It's so annoying. Fire onto the mountain, no! Hang! Hang, no! There goes... Does it matter? Possibly. 3 seconds. There's still going to be a lot of zone control. Realm Warp to try and get somewhere. Keshi dies. Feather doesn't find the knocker. Oh, boy. There's a lot of damage onto... Oh, and another Scion ult from Birdle, who's been really good this game as well. Honestly, the front to back, there's the choke point control of Scion and Onivia. Nami with Vi full sending was just way too much. To just objective fights or playing out slower areas, I think their ability to get towards this Jace and this Ziggs will be limited. Thank you for the subscription, Daragon. I appreciate it. It's why we ask, folks. Sometimes people listen. Bit of chunky out in this bot lane here. Damage onto Birdle. Pretty nasty there from Keshi. Again, Jace has a weird time into Yorick. Basically, the moment Yorick starts sending ghouls at Jace, Jace kind of has a really annoying time of it because the ghouls are not something he gets to kill very easily. And he doesn't enjoy being chunked down very much. Relatively squishy. TT win draft? Yeah, I think TT won the draft, personally. I'm more of a fan of their comp, I think. Again, you still got Tanguin on the LeBlanc. If Heng and Tanguin can start getting into the enemy jungle, you get the Nico off Fish in different composition. Nice flash from Xiaoye there as Feather went looking for the pulverized combo. That's the summoners, but not anything more. Does Leaf Varus do anything this game? Some. It's a squishy enough game. And also, Alistar hates it. People think of Alistar as a tank, and he is. For about 12 seconds when he presses his R button. Outside of that, one of the ways you actually win games into Alistar is poking out the Alistar so he has to burn his ult early. So weirdly, poke is one of the better options into Alistar. Thank you for the follow. By the by, I am much distracted briefly, but that's okay. Tangyuan is the biggest surprise this year. On RNG, he was unironically a nepotism now, a hire, and now he's just good. I think he's had a pretty good showing over the last few weeks. I agree. Tangyuan was not doing a fantastic job on RNG. Not at all. But this play's been very good. Deserved his MVP in that last game. I think, again, arguments for Heng and Birdle would have been perfectly valid. Mike, I think I did thank you for that follow, didn't I? Appreciate you. A lot of one-shot potential for LGD. Yeah, and it has to be good. I will also say they'll hit a point where I think the Yorick can theoretically just split push your way to a win condition because you don't have to play towards the 5v5. A little bit tricky when you're into a Ziggs because Ziggs can just send an ult to stop you shoving, which can get a bit annoying. This, oh, Keshi. Oh, Keshi. Trapped inside the Dark Procession. Jace gets caged. Birdle throws up the damn one emote. Of course, he was once an understudy. Some very great top laners. The Aurelia solo queue player. Really struggled to deliver on that level, though. There's a bit of damage. As Tangyuan just get jumped on. Needs to back away there with the distort. Gets away. Flash Feather goes in. Now look who's behind. It's Junhao with the level 5. And a steel chair. And Arn gets the kill. Very nicely done. Feather's been playing very well on the Alistair. Ooh. Mess with the bull, you get the horn. Yorick getting the kill there is amazing. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's a really big win condition angle. Keshi, I've really enjoyed what I've seen from him this split. I have. I think he's clearly got promise. But you can attack him. As you often can with our young hotshot top laners here in the LPL. When did Wukong get a steel chair? When he threw Mankind 16 feet through the announcer's desk in Hell in a Cell. That's when he did. Come on now, keep up. My god, he broke the bot lane in half. Somewhere out there, Kangas approves. W Wrestling reference. I'm trying my best. I've been really enjoying watching Kangas and Raz with their ongoing Stone Cold Stunners bit. It's been really good. Xiaoya throws down the hail of arrows. Gets blapped back there by the satchel. Or was it when he created the Korean Peninsula? I think that's the folklore of Sun Wukong. He's got a pretty crazy tale, to be fair. Journey to the West is one of the great epics of the era. There's the Impale! Catches the Wukong! In comes the Mega Inferno bomb. Junhao's going to go in with that Cyclone. They buy a bit of time, but they don't get the quite get the kill. The Petrifying Gaze on 2. One of them was a clone, of course, makes things a bit spicy. They back away. That's still another clone. LGD gets the call of it. Junhao goes in with a flash, and the Nimbus Strike needs to wear his Warrior Trickster. Damage is good, and Xiaoya gets the kill. I think that was double clones that were stunned up, by the way. That's crazy, because Nico and LeBlanc passives. Another clone comes on down. Heru and Arn try to trade out. Keshi now trading with Birdol. There's a TP flying as Feather's trying to join the play. Keeps Keshi safe. We'll try and headbutt the Maiden of the Mist. Feather's got to be a little little bit careful here, actually. Morning Mist puts him in a tricky spot. He needs to be really careful. Dark Procession Feather, no! Another little Q would do it. The bit of CC buys good time. The headbutt away. Keshi can maybe now go on his own route as in comes the ghouls. Blocks off one of those shot blasts. Goes to the sky. The Maiden is dead. The damage back is decent. But my God, that's not a bad 1v2 from Birdol. Big CC chain. Tanguan gets a big... Big old opportunity. Back towards this Raptor camp we go. The Impale lands. Clone number 1 of the fight. Mega Inferno Bomb lands. They get the knockups. But it's a clone again. And it's another Nico clone. Double clone. Clones 2 and 3 of the fight. Chains of Corruption. Come flying on forwards. Roots up the Cassiopeia. Heng gets a kill on Feather. Junhao trades it back onto Tanguan. But then, of course, Junhao ends up a little bit split and Xiaoye gets that kill. And then things get a little bit spicy because, of course, Xiaoye and ICX do some work. There's clone number 4 of the fight. Tangle Barb, flash away from Xiaoye, who went up a little bit deep there. Flashes for flashes. Keshi's dead. Heng turns back up topside and Birdol's now 2-0. Ooh, this Jace having fun. Just had an Alistair TP to their lane. And it ain't going to change all that much, is it now? That's really problematic. Damage looks pretty great there. There's Arn just doing his best to thump the wave. Poke from behind doesn't seem easy. Yeah, they shouldn't have been behind is the thing. Their comp should have been significantly easier to play. I think Heng's had another very good game, actually. And I think Junhao's looked a little bit pedestrian. Down 20-odd CS. Heng's made more plays. Being this much farm up on a Skarner versus a Wukong is not good news. Junhao now going to look in. But it's YCX. Let's get a decent stun there. Have to be a bit careful of a potential full send. On the other side, Keshi tries to stun the Dark Procession again. And this matchup now gets very, very tricky. There's a big old chunk. Xiaoye just about to fight, so now Y6 does not. Tanguan's turned up though, and that makes things a bit spicy. His Feather has to cleanse, and Arn is dead. The dive goes wrong. They've already lost 2. There might be a 3rd here. Tanguan, when is the next Distort? Looking forward for the Sigil of Malice, gets it. Very nice response from LGD. That teleport from the LeBlanc was huge. Leave a J save for some HP. Ugh. And you know what? LGD, despite a comp I wasn't quite as sold on, have skirmished very well in the early game. This dive was felt a little bit desperate. Arn, not a great satchel charge. Still eats basically everything. Finally flashed out the Pot Blossom. But it leaves the Flay very, very split. Junhao kind of gets dragged towards turret and ends up going down. Just at least take YCX with him. But Tanguan's journey in with the teleport means he gets Arn. He gets to follow up for Feather, who does his best to kind of knock the LeBlanc away. But keeping LeBlanc out of a play as a 1v1 and as an Alistair is just very hard to do. Y6 is likely dead here. Nice combo. Important kill to Keshi. Don't think Y6 was expecting 3 people there. And Birdo's like, bro, why have we done this? Arn's got to be really careful. He gets driven into a wall. Here comes Tanguin. Doesn't have a satchel charge anymore. Arn is dead. Oh, dear. The Ziggs has gone from being in the game to very much not. And now the LeBlanc is 3-1. Back into the jungle we lurk. Slows down for a second or two here. Herald, 40 seconds. Not done yet. Reminder, LGD did get 2-0 up versus Weibo and then kind of had a bit of a mental collapse. Fumbled game 3, lost game 4. I had to have a wildest game 5 I remember a very long time to come back in. Don't trust them quite yet. But this isn't looking good for TT right now. Again, compositionally, I like what they drafted. It should have been a nightmare for LGD to get on top of these artillery pieces. That hasn't happened. Heng's debating diving forwards here. Tanguin looking for plates. The LeBlanc and Yorick side lanes now are going to be basically unwinnable for the rest of the game. It's very problematic. The Yorick being this ahead is annoying. Steel Caps plus Cleaver, I think, is smart from Keshi alongside the Storm Raiders. Realistically means he's a lot harder to burst out. But again, eventually, Yorick is just good into HP stacks. And he's still up a level. He's still up a fair amount of gold. A bit annoying, again, that the gold went to Keshi on that kill on YCX. YCX is around, and the fact that you've got to be very, very careful on these side lanes is going to get annoying. The roams coming up from multiple members, feather down the lane. Needs to be a bit careful of Junhao's ability to get involved. There's the Extals impact through the wall. This turret is very close to falling. No one's gotten a turret yet, but LGD with 3 grubs. LeBlanc abuses that really well. She's not the best turret taker per se. No Nash's tooth build or anything like that. But again, AP hits turrets very hard, and the fact that you have 3 grubs and distortion means it's very possible to distort up the lane, get an auto or 2 on turret with the crystallized procs and the grubs, and then hop back to your landing zone and get a lot of work done with that. Yorick, obviously notoriously an excellent split pusher. Over we go. YCX is a Pop Blossom! Everyone's a clone. All the while, Heng drives one into the wall, into the Chains of Corruption, Impale combo, and the Cassiopeia is dead to rise. Dark Procession will buy Birdol a second or 2, gets headbutted away from the team. Tanguin's coming on up. Birdol may well be a little bit dead. Just get a lot of value there from the last rights healing. Drove through the wall. Arn has to flash, but Tanguin still gets the kill. YCX trading with Junhao, looking for the kill, but Tanguin with another distort. Over the wall, Junhao needs to worry a Trickster away. Crushing blow is not enough, as a Sigil of Malice gets Tanguin a double kill. LeBlanc is pruning the thorns off these black roses. And all the while, TT look at the floral arrangement that they've been turned into and realize it's just decorating the stats of LGD. 5-1 now. 10 stack Dark Seal. Birdol goes mid, gets the second turret of the game. And the snowball continues unabated. It's rolled and formed, and the mountain rumbles with it. What a ridiculous fight. Let's have a look at it. Because initially, Pop Blossom looks good, but it doesn't really have that much follow-up. It's the TP that ends up costing them. Heng, full send onto the Cassiopeia, who gets no chance to ult, no chance to Miasma. The follow-up from Xiaoyu is good, and your big DPS check is gone already. It's now a 5v4. They try to jump onto Birdol, but they don't complete it. Then Tanguin gets to hop forwards with Heng and blow up the Ziggs, who doesn't have the bounces in place to keep him safe from the burst. Tanguin gets to stick around, saves his support as he gets another kill onto Junhao. Very nicely done in general. Haru had a great showing against IG. This hasn't been it, unfortunately. been a little bit absent this game, the Cassiopeia. That's a bad moment from them. I don't think it's necessarily been about them per se. Really does feel more like TT have not done their due diligence in terms of setting up their battle as these skirmishes, and now the vision control is gone. Heru eats a lot of damage. The petrifying gaze is short. That's not great. Drive into the wall, flash for a Sigillant. Malice, the impale onto Junhao, and there's a player I was hoping for more from. Was so good, such a superstar for Thunder Talk, but the lightning really just feels like a little static shot. There's no voltage to it, not today.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Tang Yuan, it's a great pick. It's a great pick. He's having a stormer of a game, isn't he? TT not playing very well here, unfortunately for them. The arrow comes flying on through. And at this point, they drive past the turret to look for more fights. The double knocker. Yeah. Yep. Oh, pause. Huh. Why have I got to pause? What happened? What did I miss? Hopefully this gets solved quite quickly. We'll find out. I hope it doesn't take too long. At this point, guys, we really are just assuming the LGD close this out. I think at this point, you're playing a poke comp from behind. You can't set up in the river. You have no vision control. You can't land the poke you were looking for. It's not great. Excuse me. Blah. Thank you. That was a very unexpected sneeze. Back to life we go, and the pause is got over. Dragon comes on down. LGD pick up the second dragon of the game, but I don't think it matters. At 8,000 gold up, they just used the Herald to smash everything open. Really, guys, I'm not seeing many ways for Thunder Talk to come back. I expected this series to be closer. Looking at the regular season, And looking at what we'd seen from playoffs, like, look, LGD had the harder opposition in Weibo. TT kind of took apart an ailing IG. But still, this isn't exactly great news. We liked Thunder Talk's draft. I think we saw that. I think generally all three chats were agreeing as well. Thought process was good. I think Arn could still do some damage. But basically, he's just not been given any space this game at all. He's been taken out so consistently. And I think now TT are obligated to make proactive plays without the control to really make them land. Baron's getting soloed by Skarner. He's soloing this. Tanyuan's now come to help. Back to a little bit of a Ghost Blade angle on him to get over here. Heru's coming, but I don't think we're going to be here quite in time. 4,000 HP. Yeah, it's happened too fast. It's happened too fast. The Mega Inferno bomb comes on down. Pop Blossom denies 3 members from getting in. Wisek trying to run away. They do manage to get an Impale down. They'll lose Hang. Feather taken low, but not down. The Cyclone Part 2 will likely kill off the Maiden of the Mists. And 1 for Baron feels pretty okay, I think. Tanyuan potentially looking for a Distort 4. The Ethereal Chain's just wide. Birdle does land something. YCX stuck around for this. I don't know whether you needed to do that, LGD. You'd gotten the Baron. You didn't need to be here. Okay, this is a bit far from LGD now. Now a 5v3. Tanyuan distorts forward. Gets good damage onto Arn. Should just about get the kill. Birdle kills off Heru. Maybe they can still do it because they're bloody strong. Xiaoya speeds himself away. And ends up being a 2 for 2. You know what? Even the 5v3, gold lead matters sometimes. Heru and Arn end up isolated and run up by 2 very scary members. Now they can start marching down both mid and top. Look to pick up some more turrets.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
岛屿会记住的。
Back to live we look. This game really is just a matter of waiting to see LGD close it out, I think. They might need a second Baron, maybe. And again, with the Yorick split pushing on one lane, the LeBlanc on the other, the 1-3-1 in full effect, and both of these solo laners looking very challenging to bring down however many members you send over. I think this game is looking pretty rough. Hi, Corvia, good to see you. We're doing well. Watching LGD kind of dismantle Thunder Talk 2 games in a row, honestly.
Has been destroyed.
Been relatively one-sided. Tanyuan threatening at this point. With the Dark Seal Luden's Shadow Flame combo, kind of very scary to deal with.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Back in we go. Flash forward. Birdle's left low goes down. Nice pickup. Flash away from Keshi. Got him safe. Little bit deep there. Still, they get the inhibitor in mid lane partly because of it. I think Birdle will be okay-ish with that trade. I'd love to see some live from Thunder Talk, guys, but I really don't know what to tell you. Not the biggest Baron power play of all time, partly because they gave up a couple kills with shutdowns on them, partly because, of course, they just lost Birdle there, but still more than enough to extend the lead, get the map control. There's the Shock Blast. Doesn't find what they're looking for. Tanguan's got a Death Cap, by the way. Just gonna point that out in the inventory. TP into the Dragon. LGD. We'll pick that one up and feel relatively pleased about things. Oh, Keshi. Oh, no, he's dead. He's dead. LeBlanc things. Pop Blossom after. Arm gets caught. Just about manages to satchel chop. Out. And another kill comes on down. I mean, this LeBlanc is just... She's LeBlanc from Arcane at this point. Mistress of the Black Rose doing some slightly scary things. Heng steps forward, looks for the Heartsteel procs, keeps fighting. Inhibitor gets broken. Or bonking occurs. $9,500 gold lead, Soul Point, Baron in 20 seconds. TT, it is last chance saloon. Yes, of course, that's because there's a Longhorn Alistair on the Rift, and therefore cowboy references are expected. Into the River. Oh, they found John Hap, who's on the flank angle. They do try and jump a little bit onto Tangu in there, but overcomes Heng, forced to flash. The cleanse from the McKelty. Impale is just wiping the flash. Pop Blossom will secure. John Howe left low. Still just about alive for a second or two longer. John Howe still alive. Not for long, though. He finally falls. The Dark Procession forces Heru to flash out. He's trying to Twin Fang down the rampaging Yorick. The Ixtal's impact comes on forwards. Bit of a knock-up. Petrifying Gaze is well wide, and Tanguan's TP'd into the base. He's joined in. Cassiopeia turns to stone. And the Nexus turrets are mincemeat, rubble under the full might of LGD. They dismantled this game. The early skirmish against the Raptors, that play in the topside river where they got 2 turrets. A monster snowball from... To the Rift we go for potentially the final time today. Get on in here. Quiet on the Gyos today. Looking at these runes, not seeing anything super spicy. Fleet footwork on the center makes enough sense. Hook dashed away from level 1E. Very nice from Xiaoye. Let's pursue. Heal for heal means Feather can't get in range for the staggering blows. That was close. Nice ID. TT, as you can see, as we expected, look, mid-game spike. That's where they want to take their moment of power. I think if we get to 2 items, things get a lot harder again. Unless Arn gets giga stacked. So I need to see Arn full sending for stacks on repeat. None. I need leave stacking style. Trade your life for stacks. Don't let that soul sit. Thank you. We're going to keep our eyes on Arn's stacking. He's on 4 at the minute. Keep an eye on his profile picture. Bottom right corner. John Howe with the 2-0 Lee Sin. Thank you for the sub, by the way. Appreciate you. 4 months ago, no more ads. That's right, Yosei. Welcome on in. Appreciate you coming on in. Who's going to stop this Xin Sao Olaf? Yeah, well, exactly. It's Xin Sao Olaf with an enchanter behind them, pro. I completely agree. Like, for prediction, like, that's my worry come mid-game, right? If TT don't snowball out of this early game, the 1 item mark, Olaf plus Shinzao with Emilio behind them can run roughshod over a very short range, pretty squishy composition. With a lot of ability to keep going and keep getting egged on. I get quite nervous about that one. How do you snowball with center ADC unless your name is Leave? You can't. Okay, so we've been... So actually, you're saying... Like, I agree. Leave does it better than pretty much anyone else. You're right. And that's part of the reasons why I think a lot of people kind of dismiss Senna because... people kind of assume you can't do what Leave does. But the basic way you do it is you say, I am going to drop CS. CS on Senna is nice. It is. Especially the farming Senna. It's great. But stacks over CS every time. You will trade half your health bar for double stacks. You will full send into the jungle where your jungler is and to the dragon to pick up those juicy souls from camps and drop 5 CS for it. You will happily trade your life bar and therefore lose a few CS later on for stacks. That has to be the guarantee. Yeah, honestly, Yosa, you're absolutely right. You know the best second Senna? Give your cannon. 3+1 soul. Genuinely, yes. It's gonna cost you gold. Of course it is. That's not the point. Senna's scaling is a very different style of thing. Her gold values are often significantly more limited. Or significantly more limited in their value to how she is functioning as a champion. Yes, it matters. She's an AD carry. The scaling's still there. But again, she gets so much stats from her passive that she's gonna get things like crit from the passive. She gets all those range increases from the passive. More deeper capped on crit. She starts getting more AD from the passive. Like, it's so much value that items just don't offer quite the same. Jackie used to play a very meme early game on the center. Yeah, absolutely. When Jackie was still struggling, I want to say... Back when we were having some questions about Jackie Love, but I want to say, was it 22? Maybe? I want to say maybe 21. When he was on top esports again for a while. He had this whole thing where he would still manage to get crazy, like his Senna and one other champion, possibly his Kai'Sa, was still incredibly good. It felt like he would win on them regardless anyway. I need to go back and look up the numbers. There was a year where basically a lot of his other AD carries were very, very mediocre, with the very notable exception of his Senna, which was just insane. Where are the stats? If you look at the bottom of your screen, Tushar, you will see all of the sort of champion profile pictures, and that's a really nice kill there onto the Olaf. Very well done there with the Meganar. A little bit distracted looking at chat there. That's actually really important. You want this Olaf behind. You want this Lee Sin fed. Junhao with first blood. Very, very significant moment, actually. I don't want to undersell that. Didn't really get enough hype on that one. Can now potentially look mid. Heng is around. I don't think it'll be really an option as Heru was left pretty low there. Jaya looking to trade there onto Feather. Piercing Darkness Barrier. Gives you the Vigilance passive. Good double tap after. Oh, I thought T1. Ah, no, TT. Very similar. I grant you. No, Thunder Talk on not T1, it must be said. Wrong region for that. But please do stick around and say hello anyway, SH Parky. Come follow the Twitch and the YouTube channels as well, guys. Please do that. It'd be great. In fact, I ought to do that. That whole shenanigans where I share all the various socials, guys. Come say hello to the OG channels, which you're seeing the restream of over in Nivy's chat. We've got a bit of a fight happening. And of course, the Huya ads come in. Typical. Heru's going to get caught on the wrong side of that grab field. So can't quite roam as fast as they would like. Everyone in the river. 3v3. Arm's a little low here. Doesn't have the level 6. Heng with his own to work with. This gets a bit spicy. Junhao also got the Dragon's Rage to work with. Sonic Wave lands, but doesn't get the potential turnaround. Good gravity field. Dragon's Rage for Crescent Guard. Stacks for Arn nonetheless. We'll take those. Bit of a fight over this blue buff, but it's not really going to be a contest. They'll grab that one quite happily. Will TT. Again, we need to see something better from them. I think John Howe with the early snowball is great news, right? It's the first time we've seen this all series long. TT with an actual lead, my days. Never seen it before. Keshi gets run at. Gets to run at, rather, Hang. But over they come with the reckless undertows. That's a ghost pocked on Birdall. Clearly a little bit nervous about where that play was going. Keshi's being zoned off the wave quite heavily here. Still up 10 CS or so right now. Up 500 gold or so now right now as well. And John Howe's going to take this opportunity with Hang being chunked out in the river to steal away the Raptor cap. Very smart. Might lose his rev buff here as well. A little bit different in the stats, though. John Howe, I don't think, can stick around. There's a big item discrepancy right now. Has to flash and get out. Does do. Little bit greedy sticking around there. Xiaoyu gets hit by the last embrace. We'll give over the stacks to Arn. Who's in a decent clip here. They start accelerating as you go a little bit further on in. We'll need to try and pick up a few more. Again, Leave got 90 pre-20 was been our best so far. Keshi's TP'd in. Nearly at Mega Nart. Missed the undertow there from Birdall. That's now really problematic. Be a bit careful standing next to that wall. Of course, can immune the CC. Heru is going to try and sprint his way away. Is there a roam from support? No, there's not. Raptors being fought over now. They will see the ward there. Bot lane, Xiaoyu trading with Arn. Another last embrace into the Dawning Shadow. Good trade there. As Senna decides to show her husband exactly what she thinks of him right now. Namely, the business end of a railgun. Which is a bit rude. There's a flash on in. Xiaoyu survives a second or two. The Breath of Life away from that hook. In comes John Howe to keep Arn saved up. Had to barrier on both of those AD carries. Feather flash for the hook and couldn't quite find it. That was close. Bloody hell. Dragon a minute and a half away. Hang just got hit by the Sonic Wave. Smite fight won again by Hang. Gets kicked back into the hook. That's a bit wild. There's the Crescent Guard knock away. YCX is here. Lucian's not. That makes this dive very possible. Arn's pretty low here. And I think they're going to try and hold this off. TP now comes on in. Heru's around. Minute and a half till Dragon still. Tang Yuan's here. Should allow for resets. Will cost a camp. That'll be it. I think YCX should just bonk that down. Does indeed. A bonk. How many happy PCs can we find? We got 7 of them so far. Anyone else for Upper GX right now? Come on. Birdall gets run out a little bit here. Should be okay. I mean, the Olaf's not really done a lot so far. And we are starting to get to the point where the steel caps could potentially get a bit more interesting. Really want Stride Breaker. Then things begin to turn around again. And again, TT, look, they were obligated to get the early snowball off. So far, so good, but it's only 1,400 gold. And LGD got the first drag. This needs to turn into more. It needs to turn into more. And I don't know whether the Gnar is a win condition per se. Getting ahead of the Olaf is a big deal. Bit of a chunk there. Xiaoyu dashes away. Nicely done.
Bit of a chunk. Hang on, this gets a bit spicier suddenly. Everyone's turning up off this dragon. Hen goes in onto Junhao, keeps him separate. Feather being separated off as Junhao has to kick away there. Well, superb. Hang on, now we've got a bit more damage. The Dawning Shadow comes on over. The Crescent Guard is excellent. Now Xiaoyu gets an opportunity to try and jump, but Feather can't quite get what he's looking for. He's now very low on mana. Slowed down by the Piercing Darkness. The Gravity Field buys some time. Flash away from Xiaoyu. Can't get what he's looking for. Now trapped on the Gravity Field is Junhao. Didn't have vision, though. That Sonic Wave. His mind's telling him no, and his body agrees this time around. Nice chunks. Bit of a chunk there from Kashi. Knocking Bird all away. And the gold stays quietly the same. No one managed to get that dragon off that last fight, it's worth noting. Xiaoyu with a Cullen inventory half stacked. Static Shiver's done for Arn. 35 stacks is... it's alright. Keshi needs to be very careful here. He's a mini-Gnar! Oh my god! Here's the Olaf play! Birdall finds himself a phenomenal solo kill under the turret. In we go. Goes Junhao, but he's Super Mega Blaze Kick. Has to ward hop back forwards. Gets into the backline. Dragon picked up by the Shinzao. Junhao's dead. Audacious charge in. Feather left low. The Curse of the Black Mist turns him into a Wraith for a second or two. But 2 dead, 1 top, 1 in the river. And the dragon for LGD, and the gold lead's gone. And the early gold lead from the Gnar. I worried that it might not be all that meaningful. And suddenly the 500 gold lead for the Gnar oscillates to a 500 gold lead for the Olaf. Breath of Life. Are we getting TPs behind? We are. That means LGD need to fight this. Keshi's coming. He's going to be the mini-Gnar. They're going to try and trade this one out best they can. They are a little shy on their options. Xiaoyu is now in danger. Gets himself a bit of a shield. Y6 is going to leave him to dead. The hook on the other side. This looks a little better. Xiaoyu continues to try and run away. The relentless pursuit finds no purchase as the Gnar boomerangs will bring low. That Ghoul Hunter. Good pickups there. Helps turn around the gold lead again. TT, nice little play at the exit when LGD thought things had cooled off. They had not. Great Blaze Kick denies Junhao's initial turn there. Kind of went by himself and left the dragon up. Lands another Q onto Tangyuan, but then just dies to the Hextech Ray. Not great from Junhao, honestly. And this is where it got a little bit spicy, right? Because obviously LGD then overplayed bot side, thinking they were safe. They didn't track the ward in the bush behind them, and it got a bit spicy. Kick away through 2, allows for a wonderful Tibbers follow-up. And suddenly TT really turned the screws. Should be able to pick up Tangyuan here as well. Junhao misses his Sonic Wave, but now actually Xiaoyu can come on in, and Tangyuan gets out. The culling after makes things a bit spicier again. Only the 1 kill where I expected 2. That Sonic Wave missing from Junhao is a little bit ugly. We expect better. CC onto Tangyuan. Briefly. There's the Herald. But we're seeing LGD, despite being down that gold lead early, still got 2 dragons, still got 3 grubs. And they're the team with the Olaf, and on the other versus the Gnar. Okay, she's got to be careful here. I'm very nervous about how things go from this mid-game point. Like, TT needed to be further ahead. They failed the snowball for my money. That last little sequence was decent. On 50 stacks isn't exactly spectacular. Feather flashes the hook. Tangyuan flashes out. Junhao on a flank angle. Gets a pretty fun Dragon's Rage angle, actually. That's not bad. And this looked pretty good. But they don't quite kill Tangyuan. As the gravity field buys time, he gets a siphon power for another shield. Dodges the wave, and Junhao just can't quite get in range. Little bit difficult, that. Heng is now looking pretty happy here in general. Nearly at the Black Cleaver. Birdle not far off. I suspect will be a Black Cleaver second, but we'll see. Funneler. Might be something different, actually. We'll keep our eyes on that one. I'm going to take that back. I don't know what the second item is for Olaf these days. Thundered Sky, not awful. Bit more sustain. Hexplate. Probably Hexplate now I think it through. Sorry, it took me a second there. Hexplate 100%. Yep, Yosei's got the same thing. Yeah. Took me a second. So what does Tunneler build into again? I was like, oh yeah, that Hexplate thing.
Red team's turret has been destroyed.
Okay, turret top finally falls. It's the second turret of the game. And TT, again, I'm really nervous, guys, about this gold lead. I think it's a bit fake. I think it's a bit fake. The river looks interesting for a second or two. The reason we're all here, of course, is Dragon's up. That ward there in that line bush is valuable. Do they spot it? They don't. They don't. That's actually potentially quite huge. TT are going to have a bit more control and vision. They might have expected. Keshi coming on over, but nowhere near the Mega right now. Herald summoned. Battle Herald angle. Tang Yuan threatening with the Chaos Storm. A little bit awkward. Feather front lining. I think this should just now be the Dragon for the side of TT. Back in we go. Heng gets there. The Crescent Guard is all right. Olaf with the Ragnarok. A little bit split up, but that Herald means he's very alone. Can maybe pick up Feather. Trying to bring him low. Can't quite get him. And yeah, a bit of an ugly fight. Flash for the Megadar is decent, but the Breath of Life denies some of the CC. The Gravity Field makes things a bit tricky, but that's Dragon and a kill. LGD with a pretty ugly Dragon fight, all things said and done. Early on the Hextech Storm, bad retreat. Olaf ends up a bit alone. Gold lead extends and soul points denied. Not sure about that one at all. I don't want to replay there. Tang Yuan, a little bit ugly. Olaf nearly got the Nautilus, but Feather just spends his whole time trying to dance away with the hooks. John Howe's now very alone here. This is a bit deep. Tries to get over. Oh, that's not bad. Not bad from John Howe. The TPing in. This gets a bit spicy. There's no enchanter here to keep this one going. His Heather flashes on in. Looking for the TP out. Nice jump from Heng, but he's now alone in 1v3. Does he have the Crescent Guard quite yet? No, he does not. Makes things a bit spicy. Knock up with a 3 Talon Strike. Audacious charge to the Raptors. He's now in a 1v4. Baron has spawned and Heng's alone and dead. What have we done? That's Baron. LGD? What an awful last 2 minutes. Again, it's the Game 3 curse. They had this happen versus Weibo as well. That's pretty poor. Olaf's going to have to Ragnarok away. Baron down to 2/3. It's not a fast Baron with this comp. It is not a fast Baron. But I don't think it matters because in the 4v5, it would be a bit tricky. They're saying, screw it, we're going to get mid lane turret. Give up the Baron. We're not on a new patch. We've been on the same patch all playoffs. 0.10 for the whole of playoffs. John Howe plays his attach out really, really well, actually, getting that initial kill. And then Tang Yuan TPs away, trying to save his life. And Heng goes on a great attempt to escape, but doesn't manage to make it work. And that cost them Baron just after. Dragon's a couple minutes away, and this might be what they needed to extend the lead. Arn's not stacked souls particularly quickly, but does it matter? Heng goes in regardless. Heng? What are we doing? That was too far. Got caught by the last embrace, and I guess assumed he wasn't going to survive. So just went, right, I've got to full send it. What a bizarre set of throws. Going on a flank angle. Might look for this regardless. Here we go. Meganar's nearly out. Here comes Birdol. And we go. Big damage from the Olaf. Keshi's going to get left low. They get the kill. That's not bad going. All the while, Xiaoye survives the attempt on his life on the other side. Feather left pretty low himself. Olaf still Ragnarocking and rolling, and he's burned 2, though. And TT now, with multiple members dead, might just be able to march for an inhibitor or more. LGD in the 4v5 go looking, and it's just a bit much. Really overestimating their damage at this point in the game. Back to live we look. Keshi nearly at Mega. TT. Did I find anything more here? I mean, it's been a big Baron power play, right? Huge Baron power play. 5,000 odd gold, I think might be more than enough. And now Senna's at 90 souls. Feeling a bit happier about her breakpoint. She's got 2 items. Nearly at the rapid fire. I think this gets a lot harder suddenly for LGD to play out. They're going to go in regardless. There goes Heng, but he's immediately CC'd. And there's no breath of life. That's just too far again, Heng! What are we doing? LGD are trying to full send, and they're just too far behind now. And it's not coordinated. It's not coordinated. Now, Keshi's got to run at them, nearly at the Mega Gnar. Junha looks for the Sonic Wave, can't find it. 6-1 now on the Lee Sin, by the way. After a relatively quiet early game, ironically, it's after their point of power have finished that he finds the picks that potentially win them the game. You might well be in for a shout of MVP here. And Thunderdog from this point can realistically end the game. There's not a lot that LGD can do about it. Might take another Baron. But the damage is well and truly done. How has this happened? What a bizarre throw. LGD 2-0 up against Weibo. Fumbled game 3 and nearly got reverse swept. Game 3 again, a pretty catastrophic sequence, has seen them lose this one. And we've seen this happen before where the cracks show when they start crumbling. Not good decisions to full send there and not well coordinated. If you're going to do it together. They did not. CC. Will you be found? I mean, what are we're just waiting on this Baron, really, aren't we? Game is pretty much done. Thundertalk, much better from their mid jungle. Much better from their mid jungle. Heru's had a good game on the Annie. And for a first pick, important. I mean, Olaf doesn't really have an engage to follow up on. I mean, theoretically, you run in with the Shins out, with the Milio behind you, and you play Enchanter Olaf. Ooh, spicy combo. Tang Yuan's dead. Arn's now getting to the point, and this isn't bad. Actually, Olaf might be able to get this one. Does. That's not bad. At least you get one. That's also very deep. Doesn't matter. From TT, as they still kill off everyone, and Birdle, look, manages to kill off the center. Better target. Doesn't matter, though, because 4 members survive, and the inhibitor will surely fall. We've got 20 seconds on anyone meaningful wave clear-wise, so we're going to TP and try and end the game here.
Red team's inhibitor has been destroyed.
Oh, boy. Is there a team already locked for MSI? No, there is not. One of these two teams could theoretically make it if they make the gauntlet run happen. It is a mighty journey to Takashi's castle. Knocks Olaf into his own castle. The Nexus, though, is well and truly under siege. Foundations crumble. Keep will finally be breached. And Thunder Talk ensure they do not lose. 0-3. Much better from them. And LGD, mid-game was not... I think they might have just flicked the audio over a little too soon, is what that suggests to me. Level 1 plays? No, not particularly right now. Went looking for a ward or two, and that'll be it. Are you not a Silver Scrapes enjoyer, Birds in my brain? Opera GX, appreciate you for pulling that one out. Woohoo! And hello, TFC. Thanks for the sub. Oh, this is very desynced, isn't it? Hang on. This is very desynced. Hang on, let's just try refreshing that. That better? Think that's better? Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. Okay. Wait, what? We're still hearing bot lane? What is this? It's cooked. I'm not sure this is us, guys. I'm not sure this is us. Let me try changing a different server. I hear barrier burn. There's a heal. Oh, that's really awkward. Try refreshing it again. I think that might be their end, guys. Yeah, it's the clean feed. Okay, right. Well, hopefully they'll sort that shortly. TT looking for the play here in this bot lane. But stop doing tech issues to resolve the fight. There's a flash away. I know the audio is going to be a little bit off. I'm going to lower the audio for now, guys, just because it's going to be really annoying being desynced like this. So I do apologize for that one. TT, very good mid-game spike, especially if John Howe can get rolling. If they can't, it gets a bit harder again. I heard barrier again. Is that the audio being sorted? Yes. Yes. Is that better? Yes, it is. They've sorted the audio. Thank God for that. Oh, now they've got it double layered. I know what's happening. They've got the replay feed and the observer feed overlaid. That's what's happened. That's what's happened. We might be hearing double audio for a second or two here. Because the replay feed tends to be slightly ahead of live, so they can catch good plays happening. I think that's what that is. Yeah, we're getting double audio. Ooh. That's their end. Yeah, they're trying to sort out the feed. Uh-oh. 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 That's got to be on their end. Do I need to change servers again? Oh, come on. Why are we doing this? Feed! Okay, let's try changing the server again. Yeah, that's just died. There we go, back. We needed to come back in. Keshi might not be dead, by the way. Heng's come for another early gank. This time won't land into anything. Right, this is better. I think the audio sorted. I think the audio sorted. Smite on those raptors. Junhat's going to look for the invade. Why am I hearing random... What's that random whipping noise in the background? Oh, the audio's gone again. Oh dear, they're definitely having some tech issues over in China. Xiaoyi's going to go very low. Doesn't quite go down. They've set the Renekton mid and the Akali top, by the way. I just kind of blanked on that. I was busy sorting out audio things. But you're right. They have set the Renekton into the Galio, which is a much harder matchup for the Galio. And the Akali can be really annoying for Jax because he can't counter-strike the majority of Akali's work. You can counter-strike her in the Twilight Shroud, but it's not that easy. The audio's just gone. We can hear the music just about, but that's it. Okay, just mute it for now. I need to keep it on so I can hear when it's back up. I'm going to keep it lower. But I do apologize for that. That's unideal. Yes, indeed. But you're right, the Renekton got switched mid. They've done this a little bit, have Tang Yuan and Birdol. Reminder, they did the Vayne switch in key matchups last time. And now actually it's going to be a level 6 play. The Shuriken flip goes in, looking for the R2. Can't quite get the kill. It's low, it's fast, but it's not quite enough. The Grandmaster's might was just enough resist there to keep them alive. Who wins late, Jax or Yunara? I am of the impression... Okay, I'm going to put this out there. I got a mildly hot take, because I don't think Yunara is that great late. She's fine late. And that's not because she doesn't have damage. It's not because she can't win a team fight. But it's because she only has one dash on a relatively short cooldown, or relatively long cooldown, and she's quite short range. So in order for her to win a team fight, she also has to get into knife fight range with late game carries, which means she goes 1-for-1 so often. If you remember when Yunara first released, we saw Yunara with a lot of Nautilus, a lot of engage supports, because she could abuse lane and snowball with it really, really well. We've just now got no audio at all, by the way. Birdall goes in, doesn't get the red buff steal, or run the red buff secure. Don't know how we'll get that one. Heng's going to come over here. Just got to be a little bit careful. Doesn't have smite, actually, so I'll have to Q this one well. Going to hold his Q. Bramble. Smash! There you go, held it. Nice. Anyway, back to the Yunara point. And we saw a lot of Yunara with those engaged sports, particularly things like that Nautilus. Elk is a great example on BLG last year, where they get these crazy lane leads, and then they have to fight around Soul as a late game Yunara with Nautilus and no Enchanter behind them, and you have no sustain in your build. Hang on, is that audio coming back? I still got the whipping sound! Oh, thank you. Someone else has downloaded some Opera GX. Appreciate you guys. Keep it up. Keep it up. That's the one. Love ya. Love ya, chat. Don't know why I've decided to go for a really awkward Cockney geezer. There we are. Anyway. Yunara late, as we said, doesn't really have sustain in her kit. Doesn't really have that much safety late game in her kit. Great for skirmishes, great early on. The Kanmei step move speed, the untouchable shadow to give you that one dash is decent enough. But you aren't Ezreal, you aren't Kai'Sa with her big shield and the untargetable that way. You aren't Aphelios with the fact he's got Severum and builds into things like a lot of the Conqueror runes, that kind of thing. Endless Hunger on Ezreal, just a safety with the Arcane Shift and being miles away. All these other later game options, Yunara just can't match in terms of her build for sustain. She doesn't have it in there. We saw a lot of Blade of the Ruin King and Immortal Shield Bow builds, right? Trying to get to a Bloodthirster, but then you needed the crit, and she needs Fiend Hunter bolts and all these kinds of things. You either sacked your damage for sustain and safety, Blade of the Ruin King builds, Bloodthirster builds, or you went for the damage, but then just became incredibly risky to play later on when it mattered. And Jax and Fury can just disintegrate Yunara. Exactly. You are going to be playing in their active kill threat ranges. Which is why we started seeing Yunara with things like Lulu in particular, because it gave you the Enchanter options behind you to bring you the sustain you don't get from your kit or build naturally. But it still is not that simple later on, and you are still going to be playing in difficult range, especially if the Lulu is forced to ult someone else. Bit of a play here. The Magical Journey combo. Heng's gone really deep. Out comes the Nature's Grasp. Feather survives. Hero's entrance. Heng's gone too deep. Heng's gone way too deep. The Tempered Fate catches one more. There's a reset for Junhao. He was always the big Neferi player. Won't jump any further. Big pick up there for the side of Thunder Talk Gaming. We can up the volume, I believe, finally, because they've sorted out the audio. No more whipping. Heng went looking for that. Full sent it with the Twisted Advance, and the Magical Journey meant that a little bit awkward, and suddenly was very, very deep. And the Hero's Entrance, Hound's Pursuit combo leads to a very dead tree. And TT, much like Game 3, have gotten an early gold lead. Heng's struggling a little bit. I wonder if TT has a bed set up mid to late. Renekton's just going to run it as Maokai and CC, a lot of area control. Yeah, I agree. Look, you're going to have Renekton, you're going to have Maokai ult, you're going to have saplings, you've got to get through the Lulu wild growth. I think Akali actually has a lot of very nasty targets to jump on, especially if the Galio Hero's Entrance is being used offensively. It won't be used defensively, and that can make things quite tricky. I think Jax has a pretty unfun time into Akali, which I think, particularly once she gets the Gunblade, will be quite annoying to manage. So yeah, I'm not convinced, honestly. So, Pelmin, I'm kind of there with you. But yeah, sorry I'm missing that Renekton switch mid. I kind of got a little bit distracted by all the audio stuff. I went, oh yeah, Renekton mid. Yeah, she misses that counter strike. Now a little bit vulnerable here. Does get a nice little empower auto reset. Birdall gets run out a little bit. Probably wants to TP fairly shortly here. Doesn't want to burn the ult prior to Gunblade completion. I don't think they're going to be far off it. The Merc Tread's difference there gave the move speed and the resist to make that a little bit challenging. I think this should be Gunblade. Doesn't have it. Wow. Wow. Awkward there. Awkward from Birdall. Needs to be a little bit better. That's going to be a pretty tough reset. I think was trying to hold for Gunblade, and Keshi doesn't allow that to happen. Good from Keshi. Full take done for Junhao off that first blood, and going to be in the river first, though. LGD. And again, Renekton Maokai at this point in the game is very difficult to manage in the river. Feathers coming up. As is Arn and Junhao from this bot side. True Shot Barrage. Tags a couple. That's nice. Shaya and YCX. That's a little low. Junhao decides, yeah, I don't think I'm getting in here anytime soon. Got slowed, I believe, by a sapling. Might have been a little lance. Some decent a Hound's Pursuit on the CC target. And the turnaround, though, dodge away from the Tempered Fate. Arc of Ruin came across. Everyone's coming in from TT. That's not a great Hero's Entrance. Now, Arn and Feather are a little bit up here. I think Shaya might be able to run at this. Slow onto Arn. They won't go any further. Happy enough, I think, are LGD with that one. They're now 2 dragons deep. They burn a lot of the big ultimate cooldowns. Don't really have to do that much on their own. They burn the Lulu ult, Yunara ult. Tang Yuan's going to look at Haru and say, you're not getting into your mid lane turret particularly free. It's a 20 CS lead. And again, Haru, you're on the Galio. It's not a fun matchup into the Renekton, who eats the magic damage carry alive. Flash shot away from Haru as he got zoned off his turret. The potential danger of a full combo there with the Rocket Belt Galio into the Black Cleaver Renekton would have been very miserable. So, Dominus burn for the flash for another bit of the wave lost. We'll need to reset here, I think. No Hound's Pursuit for Junhao. This wave will be picked up. And again, with the Cold Meek, the healing will be fairly significant. Go away. Who you ads? What, unwanted? Nature's Grasp top. Doesn't catch Keshi. Bit of an awkward angle there from Heng. Tang Yuan playing his heart out today? Yeah, he is. He had a wonderful game 1. Wonderful game 2. Oh, really? No! Feed! We'll hold on for a second. Hope it gets resolved shortly. Might need to for a quick refresh. Y6 being run at. Think he'll get out with that blast code. Should be fine. All right, I think we've got time for a reset here. Quick refresh. Okay, it'll drop back a little bit. We should be all right. Yeah, this is fine. No, it's not. It freezes immediately. Okay, we're back. Phew. Slowest bar portal of all time. Doesn't spot the reset happening then. Doesn't land the Q. So reset from Lulu is uninterrupted. Feather and YCX on repeat timings there. Managed to pick up the Mikhails and the Ardent Sensor. Bit of a play topside. Again, they're just keeping this Renekton match with the Galio. It's good. Hang on. Bit of a play in mid lane. Arn's going to be quite left, quite low. Man, life that got dicey. Shy with the barrier. Buys a bit of time. The Dark Hit daggers too! Oh my lord! Y6 did not. Didn't think he needed to. Voltaic Cyclo Sword is a stupid item. Wow. I think Shaya thought he was fine. I don't think Y6 thought he needed to burn the ult. Oh, that's huge. And now John Howe on his Neferi is 2-0 up. John Howe was one of the best Neferis in the league when Neferi got that rework last year. Nature Scraps are going to try and play this regardless. Flash away from Arn. Gets ult away. E, that's the word I'm looking for. Arcane Shift away from Arn. He's got the right ability down. Tangy will slice in. Won't Ruthless Predator. That was wild. They do deny the Herald pickup, though. So they don't actually get to pick up the Herald. It's only a kill. It's still good, but it's not the end of the world. We've got a minute until Dragon. I think most summoners are going to be up and available. Xiaoya's barrier won't be. Feather's heal won't be. Everything else, basically, will be up and available. It'll be largely one item, not anything more. See what Akali gets on reset. I think she probably like boots too if she can afford it. Flash in. Oh, I got Tanguin's low. Oh, Keshi. Solo kill. Nicely done. That's probably going to be first turret as well. Huge moment for the Jax. Birdle will stop this. But what a pickup. To Takeshi's castle. Looks at the crocodiles and says, you should be in my moat. What are you do standing up like a real person? I want a replay on that one. How did that happen? Got the steel caps completed now, but that was a blink and you miss it moment. Just as we were saying, Tangu's been having a great series. Keshi just solo kills him. Did he go up top lane a little bit underpowered already? Or rather, under, like low on HP or something? Surely. John Howe. Looking for a potential CC chain. Tangle comes around the back end of this to slice the dice. The Dominus is rolling. There comes that TP into the pit, but they're not here right now. The hero's entrance interrupted. No escape. Much better 5v5 as Birdle will find the perfect execution to leave the Bard. Wishing he'd chosen another career path. Paladin might have kept you alive, I suppose. Cleric might have allowed to revive. The Bard just sings a sad song. 2 members dead, and that'll be soul point for LGD. Sins of that solo kill forgiven, as Tanguin manages to catch out Heru. And the full send is more than deadly enough, and Keshi's TP meant he, with all of his gold, was not there for the fight. Soul point. Another turret. Full TT, and again, John Howe's going to be sent top to get gold on this Neferi. They see Tanguin and they go, yeah, we can catch this. But the Ruthless Predator comes on down and denies a lot of damage. Arn flashes to try and get involved in the play where their jungler is. And Tanguin just full sends at 4. Gets a lot of work done. In comes Birdle then with a perfect execution. I mean, TP'd in with that big old shield. Gets to resend in. The ult is denied with a Ruthless Predator that came off cooldown from Tanguin. And you know what? Much better from Tanguin after that awkward play top. Still, they have their win condition. River we look. Baron's in 40 seconds. Tanyuan will be okay here, I think. Be a bit careful. They might full send this, actually. Y6 needs to come around the back here just in case they needed a wild growth. They're okay. Cloud Soul with Yunara and Renekton sounds pretty terrifying. Yeah, it's not bad on Maokai either, reminder. Or Akali, who will be TPing around with that big old top lane shield. It's a good game for a Cloud Soul. Especially because actually there's a lot of melee divers happening, so that Cloud Soul move speed to try and space out a Galio ult, a Neferi ult, Jax jumping in, catching Ezreal, all feels pretty good. A bit of mid lane trading at this point. And now is going to be very scary. Still got the Black Cleaver building towards what will be a Serpent's Fang. Make no mistake about that. Baron control being looked at for Thunder Talk. 2 minutes till Soul. That'll be an interesting break point. How LGD want to play that one out. Arn gets run out a little bit there. Cultivation of Spirit allows that window of power for the Yunara. All the while, we look towards this river. Minute to go. Keshi on a potential flank here. Tempered Fade catches one. Leaves YCX a little alone out as Heru comes from a crazy angle. Forces a flash but doesn't get the kill they're looking for. Xiaoye also burns the ult. That could be big on a relatively short cooldown here with the Fiend Hunter bolts and the level 11. So should be up in time for the Dragon. Arn needs a bit of a chunk there as well. Dodge away with the Untouchable Shadow. Garex for Tangu, and he didn't turn up. Didn't burn the ult. Teleport still available here. Heru didn't burn his either, but did burn that nice rocket belt angle and actually gives TT the opportunity to get into the river and get some wards down. LGD really want a turret. They've got none so far, so they don't necessarily have to play for this Dragon. I think they'd like to, because Soul would be a genuine win condition. But getting a turret just feels nice to get some of that gold back. I really need to sneeze. It's bad timing. Oh, no. Excuse me. What? It's a close run thing. Slight gold lead to TT. Objective lead again to LGD, though. TT not been fantastic with those across this series, even the game they did win. LGD's objective has been good. Xiaoye got dropped real low there. That's problematic. Ah. Yeah, remember what I said about Yunara and her lack of sustain? This is part of the issue. They do come in here. Birdle's now TPing in. That big shield for the next 30 seconds or so. Yunara's going to have to reset, isn't she? That's Dragon. Remember what I said about Yunara and sustain problems. Hang on, looking at this one. Sure, I can flip back towards the Twilight Shroud. Hey, Solly, good to see you. Well, that denies the Soul. Bit of an awkward setup there from LGD, and Xiaoye getting chunked out was not great. It wasn't, and that actually buys TT some breathing room. Scaling's interesting this game. I do think you're going to hit a point where the Neferi will be one-shotting people. Already kind of there, but the Dark and Dagger poke, and I think the Ezreal is going to outrange a lot of what LGD bring. So there is a world where particularly this Yunara This Akali, even to a lesser extent, is at risk of just getting poked out a little bit by things like the Darking Daggers, and more importantly, the Ezreal at 2 to 3 items. I think once the Endless Hunger comes in, things get a bit tricky. Birdle looking for a flank. Bit different, again, if you get to set in the river first with your vision control and your setup with the Maokai saplings, all that kind of thing. There's a little fight, though. TP in, Tempered Fate wide. Xiaoye burns the ult. Here we go again. Heng going to be left quite low. The Nature's Craft make things quite interesting. The Wild Growth buys a bit of time. John Howard doesn't get the reset. Harry now coming to look in as well. The Rocket Belt in. Keshi looks for an angle with the counter strike. Birdle also looking to find a way and won't find the 5-point strike. Xiaoye has his ult timeout and everyone calls it a day. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Biggie was found. Was found. Suggests you have found a new state of being. Keshi gets in. That's what he's looking for. Do we look for the re-engage with that Shuriken flip landing? No, we don't. Arn also left a little low. Again, I think once the Endless Hunger comes in, the Ezreal is going to feel a lot happier about these extended trades. Maybe interrupt here. They will do. Arc of Judgment slows. Shuriken flip lands. Reset. Interrupted. Keshi, fine. But again, the interrupt means he's not able to come TP back in. Feather also have to... Birdle's bonus Shuriken flip. Has to be a bit careful here. They're going to look for this tier 1 in mid lane. Should get it. The Tempered Fate buys a bit of time. I think that's actually a stopwatch possibly that was burned. No, it isn't. It is just that Tempered Fate. Tangled left low. The magic. The Hero's Entrance comes in. Tries to immune it as Hang, but that's just poor. Full send from LGD goes really wrong. The Hero's Entrance works. Yeah, it was the arm guard from Hero denied his death. Good from them. And as a result, the re-engage was good, and I don't know what to say. You've lost your mid, you've lost your jungle. Tangyuan and Heng have had a great first 2 games. This hasn't been it. Tangyuan's had some moments on the Renekton, but I've been less impressed with Heng. Now we're going to look for the 5v3. LGD will not want to give up Baron. The health bars aren't fantastic. On guard is good. Keshi's left low. Will likely get run down. There's the Baron secured. Keshi just about surviving for a second or two longer. The perfect execution kills off the Jax in the backline. This Akali is monstrous. As is the Nymaera. 2 dead. They don't get more. Can't get more. Hey, at least you do get 2. Delay some of the shove. It means there won't be great setup for this dragon. It means there won't be a lot of value off the Baron shove. Nymaera got a free fight partly because Birdle played Disruption and the Jax could not get on top of Xiaoye properly. Birdle managed to threaten the backline. Arn and Feather threaten so much that Keshi tries to full send. It's a great dash from Xiaoye, but it means then the Nymaera, even at half HP, becomes really, really scary. John Howe gets interrupted by the Wild Growth. Huge moment there, denies the Hound's pursuit. A little bit lucky, actually, not to lose Heru as well, but they do get out. River play in the mid lane, setting up for this dragon. Will be sold again. It's a negative 1100 Baron power play right now. Tangyuan on the flank. Again, though, TT are in the river first. That's not what LGD want. They want to be in the river themselves with the saplings. Renekton on the flank. Ooh, that's not a lot of fun into the Neferi. He's going to Hound's Pursuit in. Dashes away, stunned up. Junhao a little deep for this. So the Tempered Fate can't just do the Hound's Pursuit, trying to buy some time. Tangyuan stays alive just about for a second before Arn. Arcade shifts in, laser focus. The interrupt on a Heru. In goes Feather. Double stun. Can't turn it more. TP behind. Akali on the flank. And they've murdered Heru. The Shuriken flip. Arn flashes away. But the 5-point strike into the arm guard keeps Birdle rolling. Look for the public execution. Perfect execution. This ain't Ambessa. but it's sure looking like an execution nonetheless. The variety of it is somewhat immaterial. Might Shuriken flip back towards that cannon. There's denying it. The Dark and Daggers come on down. Berta will likely die here in the long grand scheme of things to Junhao. Look messy for LGD, and it is. It will still likely be Dragon because the Akali can't escape. Heng can maybe come over and fight this, but Keshi's too high HP. Junhao's too high HP. It's a 3 for 3, but the smite survives. Burdol's inability to escape will cost them on that front. Soul denied again. It's still a gold loss in the M for TT on the Baron. But hey, you know what? You still take the souls to the fight. For all it's messy, somewhat gets what it's asked for. No Baron survive, basically. And it looked okay to begin with. As they kind of catch out a couple members. Tangyuan's left low and goes down. You go, okay, that's not bad. It's the TP for the Akali, especially. You have to look in the picture though, as the ult comes on in. Henger's going to get wild growth into time. Now Harry's left a little bit low. Is there anybody else coming? No, they're not. Jax in mid lane. Everyone survives. Oh boy. Xiaoya's trying to clear up this wave in mid lane. He's got the Infinity Edge now. It's really scary. Gets jumped on. CC! Doesn't have any mobility to stay alive. There's no wild growth. No dash. Oh, Yunara late game. I see it again. All the damage in the world and no ability to use it safely. The wild growth had to be used elsewhere. And that meant Keshi sees their moment. Oof. Now Thunder Talk can maybe find something a little bit more potent. They get a tier 2. They get another couple thousand on their gold lead. Up to 5k now. Might be able to pick up this tier 2 top side as well. The Shuriken flip back towards that Twilight Shroud. Another turret falls. 5 to 2 in those structures. Baron's up. Keshi on the flank. Known quantity. Tempered Fate does catch one. Wild growth denies. Keshi's engaging. Come Birdle! Once again gets onto Arn. That could be deadly. They're trying to get the taunt. Can still get the kill! Birdle! Superb! Goes golden. The counter-strike time's out. In comes Xiaoya. This time they're free-firing. He's in the middle of everyone, though! That's a bit deep. Just about goes down to Heru's damage. The Shuriken's still on top, but I don't know whether they can go in. It's too far from Xiaoya. Birdle's trying. He really is. Junhao's going to be left low. Does get a kill onto Keshi. Junhao needs to eviscerate away. Heng's buying quite a lot of time. And Tangyuan gets to slice and dice in and can look for the ruthless Predator and a Culling of the Meek. The knock-up, the taunt should potentially get some. The sap magic buys time. Tangyuan's alone, and Junhao somehow killed off the Akali. Decent turnaround. It's a bloodbath. Tangyuan will bleed out, and Junhao somehow the lone surviving member. What? Oh, I'm assuming Birdle tried to kill Junhao and just didn't quite have the damage. It is a mess. This Akali is trying their hardest. I need to see how Junhao survived off on that one side. So initially, the pick comes forwards onto Heng. But the wild growth denies Keshi's engaged, and Birdle with a wonderful bit of full contact team fighting. They all collapse on the isolated Heng, and Birdle springs into action and does so much work. Goes golden to deny the Hound's pursuit and the initial counter-strike. And then Xiaoya thinks he's got a moment, flashes to try and bring down Junhao, but he's out melee range of a Neferi and a Jax with the Grandmaster's might rolling. It's too far. Birdle re-engages shortly. And actually does get quite a lot of work done here with the Twilight Strike, picks up Keshi. And I thought Junhao should have been died. It's not a great Shuriken flip, honestly. the flash afterwards to try and get the kill, but the Hound's pursuit, no, they call it the pack actually, brings all the dogs up and the bleed allows the kill. And that means Junhao then stays alive, gets to join in the play, and it's a 1v2. Credit to Tang Yuan for managing to bring down Heru. The Ruthless Predator combo with the Conqueror stacked is enough to bring low the Galio. But that was an unfortunate misplay at the end there from Birdle. Clutch W from Junhao, who is trying real hard after 2 very poor games in game 1 and 2. Now, after the Lee Sin, after this Neferi game, is in such a crazy state of affairs. The Galio with the 7k team fight. How many AoE ground slams did he get off in that fight? That is ridiculous. He's gone very heavy burst build as well here, knowing that the tank is just never going to work. Rocket Belt, Bloodletter's Curse, and a Zhonya's to try and just get as much damage down as possible. Damage is very good there onto Junhao, actually. Nature's Grasp picks up Heru. Might be able to turn this into a little bit more. Side against it. Dragon's up. Few ults burn there. Xiaoye's and Heng's. Junhao was left low, but not down. This will be another dragon. They'll get Soul Point themselves, and the game drags later still. The player mid lane, Keshi gets ulted. They'll Shuriken flip out. Now, actually, Heru might be a little bit of danger. Doesn't quite find it. Public execution. Perfect execution away every time these days. Heng looking at a potential flank angle. The resets come on through. Inhibitor turret broken. No inhibitors broken. Xiaoye at... Hang on. Arn's been interrupted. The flash for the smite. That means Arn's in danger. Needs to try and run away with the Mikhail's buys some time, but he's been taken down. Oh, that's huge. Tempered Fate stops Heng, but Feather's left alone. Needs to flash away. Heal as well. Look at Tang Yuan on the flank. The magical journey could be difficult. Looking for a polymorph to deny a magical journey away. They've got to know that Tang Yuan's on the flank. Where is the rest of Thunder Talk? They're not coming. They're not coming. They're going to try and bring down the Bard, and they do so. All the while, Keshi gets the inhibitor turret though, and there's no actual objectives to get from this. Not going to re-engage. So it's still not entirely clean. Xiaoye should be able to pick up this tier 1. They stay against it. They don't trust it. It's a good moment, but look, there's no dragon, there's no Baron. They get a wave shot, but they don't get a turret. Okay. What you do get is the flash off Arm, the flash off Feather, neither of which will be available for Dragon or Baron. That's fairly significant. On being vulnerable is huge. Heng sees the reset and looks to punish and does so really well. This is clutch. Flash Smite. Twisted Advance. And you can't use the... I don't think the root interrupts the back, actually, if he's got the barrier rolling. It needs to be hard CC, and root's a weird one. Am I right in thinking that? I'm not sure the root from the Maokai interrupts. Maybe the damage would. The damage would, but I think he had the shield from the barrier, so it wouldn't have interrupted. Smite does that. Because I think with the barrier, he thought he was going to be fine. He's got QSS, by the way. QSS Mikhail to be as CC immune as possible. The problem is that doesn't necessarily stop Akali just one-shotting you. She's got a Shadow Flame now as well. She does blow up the majority of the Rift. Keshi's got Randuin's. That's fairly significant. Junhao's got GA. Junhao is still the king of the Rift. Queen, I suppose, considering it's the theory. There we go. Decent CC chain there on to Battle! Junhao killed them! Queen of the Rift indeed. Oh my god, how did he die? Darkened Daggers through the Shroud? That might be game. It's at least... Can they shove through with the man advantage? They want at least inhibitors here. They want at least inhibitors here. That might just be game. Anticlimactic. Birdle was holding LGD into the game. Good damage onto Heru. They just don't quite get the inhibitor. Keshi should get it now on the other side, though, at least. Tang Yuan goes in. We'll get CC'd. He's not that tanky. He needs to slice away. Tempered Fate onto the Renekton. Xiaoye with the Arc of Ruin. Has transcended themselves, but for how long? There's an ult on Lulu. That's about it. They're desperate to clear the waves. They get the inhibitors, but nothing more. The waves cleared. They can look to set up around Baron or Dragon. Soul for either team. Now, that is potentially cataclysmic damage. How did Birdle get caught? How does Bernal get caught there? Had flash, ult, and Zhonya's. I think he was trying to buy time in the backline before burning ult and stuff. Wanted to actually play that out as the flanking Kali. You see that, but I'm assuming just got taken down with the Darkin daggers through the Shroud, with my assumption. Have to be, no? Dragon 20 seconds off. Well, Baron 20 seconds off. Dragon 50. Hanging on a flank. Looking to threaten something. Can't quite. Slices. Pulls the meat. Wave goes down. And the waves are shoved. The thing is, this Jax is shoving top lane. Jax is shoving top lane, and Bernal has to go and respond. Let's at least get that wave shift. But they've only gotten 2 turrets still. LGD so much gold on the map to pick up. Oh, Xiaoyi's been chunked out again. Maybe jumps onto Feather. That's decent. Dodges away. Haru has to rocket belt out. The Tempered Fate. Flash from Xiaoyi. But that's two people caught. Shielded Durand. On gets the kill on Tang Yuan. Heng gets Wild Growth, but he's dead. Finally, Bernal turned up, but it's too little too late. A wonderful Tempered Fate. Hound's Pursuit onto YCX. Eviscerate in. Darkin Daggers part 1. The dogs nearly bleed him out. Not quite low. Bernal's going to try, but it won't matter. He does get on, but dies doing it. Just about survives. I apologize. It was Heng who ends up, sorry, Xiaoyu ends up dying. I apologize. Bernal's going to try and run away, clear out the wave. Does go low, goes golden, will buy out the burn, which still just falls to a final auto from Keshi. And we are, of course, inevitably going to a Nirvana best of 5. LGD, whatever they do, cannot win a best of 5 in 3. They have to be dragged all the distance. 2-0 up. Once again in back-to-back series. Starts scraping silver. Thunderspot Hawk. Smell blood in the water. Atari is pretty cool, people. Last chance to get all of those gambits. We're going to run some ads so we don't get them in game. And we'll go from there. There's a look at our runes. Nothing super surprising there. One final game to go. One of these teams will move forwards. Oh, there's the Blitzcrank hook. Hang on. No time to be having smaller conversations. The barrier blown. On. That was a little bit scary, and that is how you beat the Caitlyn Lux. Land those hooks. You don't, and things get a bit more interesting. That has gone towards the Comet on the Lux. No area or anything like that. Just want as much poke as they can get. TT obviously lost just before this to JDG in their upper round matchups. LGD 3-0 by Top Esports, and it wasn't particularly close, it has to be said. It was a bit of a shellacking. TT actually had that game 1 against JDG. It was legitimately pretty good. I think they should have won game 2 as well. JDG looked a little bit worse for wear and then ended up dropping down to the lower bracket. Winner of this matchup will go on to face anyone's legend, who dropped to WE 3-0 an obscene series. Might be that series going on. Kashi trading up with Birdall there. Potential play onto the red buff. John has got to be a bit careful here. Does buffer through the stun into the wall. Gets some of the camps there, but not all of them. And can maybe look to go contest in the enemy red and the enemy blue buffs here. We'll rather not. I think once that Scuttle Crab, and we'll leave that one there, and they can go mess with bot lane. I think it's easier to play safe as LGD's comp, however, with Blitzcrank, Hook, and Poppy. according to Mr. Baki over in the YouTube chat. I was like, yeah, I can see that. There's some truth to that, right? Like, actually, your ability to play very safe with the Ahri, with the Jhin staying miles away, it's very good. Obviously, you got that ability to have the Poppy and the Blitzcrank, sort of to punish someone going in. I think the overall combo from TT is more reliable and a bit more varied. You see what I mean in terms of the ways you play in the game? I think LGD's is very pick reliant, and basically you need to have Ahri, Poppy, Blitzcrank land their skill shots like nobody's business. I think the Cassante is still very annoying. I think the Jarvan could be very menacing in these team fights still. Poppy's W stop Blitzcrank hook? No. There's some damage. Flash forward. The grab. Nicely done. Flash stun. Lux and Caitlyn ain't having much fun, are they? On drops like a rock. Every flash you could possibly think of blown in basically everyone but Xiaoye. On holds it. Sorry, Xiaoye holds his. Feather holds his. On does not. And the nice combo is YCX full sends. The Bluetooth auto after the Caitlyn flash. Yup. First kill goes to Xiaoye's Jhin. How do we deal with the Kate Lux? Well, it's a Blitzcrank. Good gank down there from Heng as well. Who does need to reset soonish. And YCX on this respawn as well. Can now maybe look to mess with mid. Quite fine what they're looking for. Hera's looking for a roam. And this could now be a problem because YCX went for that look in mid lane. Isn't here at all. And now because the Aurora had shove can look to roam. Oh dear. Xiaoye is wise to the play and roams away. But that's the price of YCX not being mid and looking for that play mid. And the priority of the Aurora in. Wave lost. Maybe look for a hook here. Feather has the flash. It would be safer than I think they might otherwise be. This invade from Jan How did almost nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's gotten him a camp or so ahead, but it's not that great. There's a play bot again. Another hook on gets away, but half the health bar goes. Oof. They've been landing these plays very well. YCX is heat seeking right now. Hang on, John Now's here. On's got to be very, very wary about overplaying with the Jarvan. No, of course, they would like that bit of support. Would love to start this dragon, but again, was spotted out on his way down bot lane. Yeah, that's unfortunately the end of that. Bit of a chunk there. Birdle had a very good game 4. Tried real hard on that Akali. But him being picked off at the end ended up being a bit disastrous. Bit consideration over this dragon start. Got down about half before they had to pull off. Too much pressure. Isn't Ambassador just bad now? No, she's still pretty good. Oh, the Lux face check. There's no way out of this one. Flashes for a second. The light binding after makes it a bit spicy. YCX look for the play and doesn't actually quite get the full commit. Heng's left low. And TT are punishing well. The charm is good. And that doesn't quite get the kill. Needs the reset. Gets it. Can maybe look to play up to the mana. The light binding still caught the Ahri. How on earth did Fella get away with that? YCX looking for potential hook. The last auto from Heru gets a triple kill. Hang on, Heru. Where did this come from? That started with Lux face checking a Blitzcrank. And ends with Aurora turning into a nightmare from Monty Python's Holy Grail. The killer bunny robot has sharp, pointy teeth. So, YCX thinks he's got a great catch here. And he does. But they don't actually get the stun to the wall. So Feather, Light Binding, Flash. Stays alive for a fair amount of time. And then the collapse is really good from Heru and from Junhao. The Flag and Drag between worlds, the kill off Heng. The Charm lands onto Feather and Tangyman says, I've got this kill, right? Heal stops the kill just about. And the Light Binding on the retreat before the reset for the ult comes on through means that Ahri ends up imprisoned and dead to Heru. Heru gets an auto, flashes out, last R2 over the wall. So the rocket punch can't come on in. And that means Heru gets 3. Huge snowball through the mid lane. Despite all the hard work of Heng and YCX early, that play in the river comes to an awful end. Birdle takes a chunk. Not too much more on that one. Bad Bunny's a problem? Yeah, kind of. LGD's not great at making calls. I think the thing is that call was almost great. The Heng, I don't know whether he had the ability to get the stun into the wall, but basically Feather got away with murder there, which is kind of crazy. Tango's going to feel very aggrieved about the fact he didn't kill the Lux more cleanly. Like, twice he had to try and burn that ult, and it goes a bit wrong. And now that puts, like, Heru in a very, very frustrating point of power. Because it basically means Cataclysm plus Aurora ult is going to be a one-team fight at this point, really. I will say that Caitlyn's not exactly had the greatest time here. They've locked Caitlyn Lux and lost lane, which is, like, disaster zone. Questions whether a Jhin can carry this game. You've got a fair number of people you can... Basically, anyone not named Cassante you can mess with. Here we go. Little bit of a play. Hang into the river. Across the veil we go. Still doesn't quite get stunned into the wall. He gets the rocket belt out. Oh, Heng. There's the knock away, but it won't matter. Decent damage onto the Jarvan, actually. Heng tries to get out. Will likely fall. Lots of healing. Oh my god, the Sundered Sky. The Sundered Sky. And a heal from YCX to charm after. That's much better. It's time for a disaster the other way round. 3 for none. Public Execution is just about dodged away from. Birdle is going to the other side of the turret. I think he's just dead here. Flash on in. Keshi should get the solo. Can't get over the wall. Flashes away. And Tempo Strikes part 3 part goes down. There will be another footwork. Can try and get to the steel caps. He doesn't have boots. And so the move speed differential becomes problematic. Flash for Flash. No way to get to the blast cone. And over they go. At least TT get one top. And Keshi continues to be a bit of a menace. This looked like a great pick from LGD to begin with, but they don't quite get Heru into the wall, and I'm thinking, oh god, this is looking rough. Junhao gets the ult onto Heng, but gets ulted away immediately. And I'm assuming there's some, flag and drag interaction. He springs back with the flag and drag. That's what happened. It ended up really, really deep. Heng with the heal, and the Sun and Sky stays alive for ages, doesn't die. And then TT, Heru was kind of miles away. Maybe it was him who got hit, actually, with the Between Worlds, and the flag and drag from Junhao didn't quite work. Not quite sure how that one worked it out. Either way, wasn't a great combo. TT thought they had a kill onto Heru. Or rather, LGD thought they had to kill onto Heru. Doesn't quite, and then it gets a bit messy, but it's TT who comes away with a lot of kills. Yikes. Bit of a chunk there, but not too much more. Dragon's a couple minutes away, held a minute off. That's probably our next port of call. I don't see LGD killing Cassante ever. Yeah, a little bit hard. I mean, Ambessa can. Ambessa can, but Ambessa being behind hurts that, losing the solo kill. Ambessa gets a lot of anti-tank ability as she kind of gets through to her higher ranks of ult. Again, remember, she gets a lot of Omnivamp and Armor Pen on her ult. See, that's a lot of chunks there. The Eclipse Shield is good, does the percentage speed of tanks, all that kind of thing. Black Cleaver will probably help a bit as well. Potentially gankable here. Trying to stay away from dangerous bushes. Flag and drag, jumped on. Will likely die. Will try and dash away. Gets the lacerate. Some Drake down steps. Public execution out of the ult of the Jarvan. Does keep her safe. Not badly done there from Birdle. Whoa, flash out from Feather as the attempted look for the flash hook from YCX goes wide. Nice attempt though. The looks down that flash. Will be vulnerable. Heng now looking to get behind the turret and jump onto Heru. There's a look on in. They're going to put down that steadfast presence, but not before Heru gets to turn away. They're TPing in and Tanguin's left low. Bit messy. Heru gets out. Nicely done. Steadfast presence on in range. There's that chunk onto the Herald briefly. Hang on a flank angle. Herald is taken down. Not brief anymore. Only the fight itself. Arn's got Hex Optics. We're going to roughly first items. Arn being 0-2 is still kind of rough. Xiaoye is actually in a very good spot this game. Building towards a Lord Dom second, probably wise. Especially because he's the only person really with a lead on his team. Tanguin's 3-1 in fairness. So the Ahri's not exactly weak. Got 5 Dark Seal stacks. You know, it's not a bad place to be. I do think that the Ahri is going to need to be quite high impact, though, this game. I'm not sure you can justify a rocket belt here. I mean, maybe in the sense it allows you to get distance onto someone who gets hooked or whatever, so you can definitely follow the play. But I wonder whether a higher damage build might be worthy. We'll see. Eventually, Jin will too once he hits 4 items. Yeah, basically, Jin level 16. 4 items. 100% crit. Because remember, his passive is not just the 4 shots or the move speed on 4th shot, right? Or on crits, specifically. He also gets a load of bonus AD that kind of triple scales on level and crit chance and raw attack damage that he has from his items. So the higher level you get and the more items you get, the more value you get from your autos. And you kind of hit this point where the Jin is very, very fast and has got like an insane amount of just raw AD, which means he does suddenly start doing very scary amount of damages to pretty much everyone. But it just takes a long time to come online. It's not a 3-item thing. It's a levels thing much as anything else. Xiaoye does get chunked low. Tanguin has to ult. Kind of kept out of the river again. Hang on, wait! There's Birdle behind the line, finds the public execution, starts dancing around John left low, but the ult away, the keeper's verdict. Makes things spicy. Heng gets the dragon. No one dies. Nice ult from Heng. Thinking not Keshi away there. He could have been a real menace in the front line. a bit of a play in the river. Hang on, Heng's been left alone. Caught in the cataclysm. The hook away onto Cassante. Might buy a bit of time. In we go with a flash on it for Bernal. There's so much healing in with the shields. No way. He should bring down John Howe and do. And now it's all going wrong. LGD in the clutch in the game 5s. How do they keep doing it? Bernal trying to run at Keshi. There's a prismatic barrier. A sundering slam. Tang Yuan comes over. Reset on the ult. Can't land the charm. Heng gets the first turret. Well, actually not the first turret of the game as LGD already got it bot lane. But that's pretty huge. LGD only with a 38% win rate on first turret. That was a really lovely angle from Bernal. Heng was dead to rights. But they don't quite kill the Poppy in time. Jarvan buffers through the stun well, but it's still CC'd. They don't quite kill Heng, who gets a heal. There's the pull away from YCX onto Keshi. The Sundered Sky, the shield, the charm from Tang Yuan. I missed that in the moment. So Heng survives, and then ends up with this crazy split fight where Bernal just gets to keep running at him. And again, at this point, the Ambessa does do a lot of damage into the Cassante. There's your anti-Cassante champion. Still gets to buffer through. Tang Yuan gets the kill. Gets a reset on the ult. Lucky, actually, is Feather not to get caught by that charm. 10 stack or 9 stacks on the Dark Seal. Please get a Medjay this game. You need to snowball. There's the TP. Interrupted! Uh-oh! Tang Yuan's now here. There's a charm onto the W, but it's now stopped with the steadfast presence. Orb of Deception with a bit of damage. Continuing to try and stack out all out. YCX now here as well. Another charm lands. And Heng gets that kill. 10 stacks. Another kill. Heng gets his first of the game. Will cost them mid-tier 1, though. Hey, you got the TP. You got to punish Keshi on the TP. But TT do get some value there. And On is doing his best to get back into the game. Heru might even get this bot lane turret. That's not the best macro from LGD, I think. Probably worth it for Keshi. You send a lot of members top, but he takes a long time to die. Bernal turns up a little bit too late. When's our next dragon? 40 seconds. Okay. There's a potential chunk onto Keshi. Hang on. He's dead. He's dead, he's dead, he's dead. Trying to find his way into the river. Doesn't quite get it. Big damage back. That was Heru gets in between worlds. The charm's wide. Heru rocket belt away from it. It's good value. But look at the backline. Bernal flashing on top of Arn. Keshi needs to reset. Look to TP back in. Bernal without energy now in a tricky spot. The Titan Call doesn't stop the Cassante TP, and Cassante survive. A potential hook. Lucent Singularity giving vision was pretty huge there alongside that ward in the bush. Bloody hell. That will be Dragon actually to TT now. That was pretty clutch from Heru. And Keshi getting out alive. I mean, looked like a pretty good start, right? Thought they caught off Keshi, and he's down to what HP by the end of this? 2. I mean, they healed, man. He went down to about 100, just can't quite kill him. The Omni Vamp is ridiculous, and the turnaround play there with Heru was really, really strong. The nice soul point, which is pretty huge. Maybe TT have found what they needed to. The gold's back to even. Bird ult, still pretty scary here with the Shojin. Hang on, Bird ult. Hang on, Keshi. Keshi, remember, no ult quite yet. 5 seconds on that one. Needs to be a bit careful. Sundering Slam. Comes on down. Gets a bit of chunk. Doesn't get the W he's looking for. Footwork away. Continue to chase him down. Shao, yeah. Threatening. Public execution sidestepped. Chunk onto that tier 2 in the bot lane. Birdall is becoming more and more of an issue. I don't think either the Aurora or the Cassante rather are wanting to deal with this one too much. Let's have a look at this top line play onto Tang Yuan. John Howe looking. Flash for the light binding, doesn't find it. Tang Yuan a little bit out of mana. John Howe disrespecting the blitz. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm fading a little bit here. 5 game solos, quite a lot. Big pickup. Big pickup. Disrespecting the Blitzcrank a little bit there. I mean, John has had 2 really good back-to-back games, but he is very binary as a jungler. When he doesn't snowball, this is what's happening. Reminder, John Howe is 0 and 4 so far on the Jarvan of late. Not been looking super good on the Jarvan. Dragon, Baron. 2 minutes for Dragon. Baron's up. LGD in control of the river. Again, they were denied soul point by that last play in the river. Somehow not had the easiest time of it here, it must be said.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
Bird ult shoving up that side lane. It's just slowed down a little bit, hasn't it? 3rd item done for the Jhin. Rapid fire to stay away. Got the LDR done. Not quite a second. Heru's gone Storm Surge. More alongside the Shadow Flame. That's a lot of flat pen into a team that's not really building magic resist outside of Heng. Actually, no, we've got the Banshee spell. It makes things a bit spicier. Blue buff was taken by Heng. Nope, sorry, it was by Heru. I apologize. And John Howe. Bit of a play in mid lane. 5 seconds on Dragon. Taking a look for the charm. Can't find it. Bird ult is here as well. The trap's coming up. There's been a couple controllers, but again, LGD not in the river particularly well, are they? They have liked to go for these retakes. I'm not sure how clean that is. Xiaoye speeds himself away. Maybe look for something. The flag to spot out what's going on. And Tang Yuan on a flank angle. They still find themselves in the river via
That far tri-brush. TT. Can't see the bottom half of the river as Tangyuan looking for potential angle, as is Bird on. They know he's there now. Public execution, a lot hard to land since the nerfs. TP in. Down to 4,000 HP. Become a smite fight. We're flipping this. Tangyuan looking for the charm. Landed onto the charm. And the hook after. Blown up. No dragon available. And now the curtains get called. Oh boy. Need to start dodging away. The light binding by some time, but Heru had to flash the wrong way. Flash for the charm in trade. The public execution follows, and Heru, even with the weirding, can't buffer through. Mid lane are dead, jungler dead, Baron's alive, and LGD can look to take all of the neutral objectives they could dream of. Medjai's was completed for Tangyuan because he's got that extra move speed, and he'll be stacking those stacks quite happily. Thank you for the subscription there, British Pirates. It's a good time to be here. The Bristolian accents, what's required for this one? As we come on in to watch this replay, it's a great angle from Tangyuan. Catches Jarvan, deadly flourish, blitzcrank hook, hang with the steadfast presence, shoves him into a wall, and Junhao gets no room to move at all. Genuinely huge. Genuinely, that's a really nice thing to do, British Pirates. Yeah, my voice is having a fun time. Tier 2 under siege. Baron for LGD. Now this is their game to lose. Game 5 again. It's been a very back and forth one. But Birdall is such a menace at this point. YCX has been hitting hook after hook as well. Heru at 4 and 1. Maybe they can be a difference maker. You got 3 items on Caitlyn, but it needs to be now. Well, your playoffs are done. See you again in Group Ascent next split, but LGD wants this. They are looking to sign a date with anyone's legend in the next round of this lower bracket. Hell, with the latest victims of WE. Keeper's Verdict knocks the Caitlyn away. That's a fairly valuable bit of wave clear just gone. Gives a lot of time here to start to use. Oh, another hook. It's on to maybe not the best target of all time. Damage still good as all the while Birdall forces Heru to ult. More CC chains. Cassante can't get over the wall. The step fast presence arm gets trapped on a trap. Barrier down, survives the 90 caliber net, but it really will be all she wrote here. That Nexus turret is looking... Nexus turrets are looking mighty weak. Mighty vulnerable as the inhibitors before them fall. Bot lane first, mid lane sure to follow. One last moment, a hook. Flash away. CC briefly. Junhao in danger, has to flash out. The steadfast presence was causing more and more problems. Heru goes across the veil, just can't find anything. The minions keep flooding in. It is a veritable horde. Heru's got to do something, but they got the holy hand grenade, a Jin, and a Poppy says absolutely not. Heroically charging. LGD do it again. Again. It goes to game 5 and they deny the reverse sweep. Weibo first.